So let us start with the hands-on session in MongoDB. In this session, we will be discussing basics of MongoDB, various CRUD operations in MongoDB, a little bit comparison between SQL and MongoDB, whatever is the difference. So as we all know, a MongoDB is NoSQL database. So if we call an NoSQL database, it means we are free from any type of prefix schema. We are working with schemaless environment. So just like in any of the SQL database, we basically say we create tables, we create databases, and we work in rows. But when we are working with NoSQL database, and if we're talking about MongoDB, then we work on creating collections, and inside those collections, we create documents. And those documents are referred just like rows within a SQL database. And this MongoDB NoSQL database is being supported by many of the programming languages, any software development tools, and this is being used by many of the companies. So let us start with the description of MongoDB. So here we have certain problems with SQL. SQL have a prefixed schema, that is the schema is rigid. We can't change the schema. We have to work within the boundaries. It was not easily scalable because SQL provides vertical scaling, and vertical scaling limits the changes in size whenever there are hardware required. We have already discussed about the vertical scaling and horizontal scaling in last lectures. If any of you have missed, then you can refer the previous lecture videos. It requires joins. Joins are very complex in SQL, and they increases the cost of the query. But NoSQL databases like Mongo don't need any join. And MongoDB provides easy interface with common languages like Java, JavaScript, PHP, and many others, Python also. DB Technical should run anywhere. It can be run on cloud. So we can run this with the help of Cloudera also. There is MongoDB Web Shell also to do practice on that. Then virtual machines are there, but we can run MongoDB on virtual machine also. It keeps all the essential features of RDBMS while learning from key value NoSQL systems. So here is a company that's named as Under Armour. MongoDB powers Under Armour's online store and was chosen for its dynamic schema because this is schema free and schema-less database. Its ability to scale horizontally, horizontal scaling is done, and we can perform sharding in MongoDB also, and we can perform multi data center application, that is data can be distributed at different servers using MongoDB. So there are many companies that are using MongoDB. You can search on internet also, and a few I have mentioned in this slide also. And a MongoDB is a document-based database. It basically supports BSON format. BSON is based on JSON. We will be covering in next slide about JSON and BSON. They are for scripting purpose and consisting of field value pairs. Each document is stored as a collection. So a collection is set of documents. Collection have index set in common, just like any tables of relational database. Documents don't have any uniform structure. We can use different structures for different documents. So JSON is JavaScript object notation, which is easy for human beings to read and write with. It is also easy for the computers to parse the code written using JSON. Objects can be nested because basically in JSON we create objects and we represent the objects, and these objects can be nested. These are built on name and value pairs. It also provides ordered list of values. So BSON is basically binary JSON, which provides binary encoded serialization of JSON-like documents. It allows referencing to other objects. It provides the facility of embedding structures that reduces the need of joins. We can embed one document inside other. We can do embedding of the structures, so we need not to perform joins, which are quite expensive. And the main goals of using BSON is they provide lightweight processes and easily traversable. That is, we can search documents at a faster pace. They're efficient, decoding and encoding can be done. And if we talk about any object, then here we are having a few fields. We are having 5 fields in this case. First field is ID. We can create the ID at own. If we don't provide the value for the ID field, then MongoDB will create ID at its own. And this ID is nothing, it's simply your document ID. So we say it is basically document ID, which is unique in nature. So this object ID is basically unique in nature. It is auto-created or can be created by programmer. So value by program also. So you can go with auto creation option. If you skip to provide the value of object ID, then it is auto created by MongoDB. And if you like to specify the value for object ID, then you can refer to it also. You can provide the value also. So this is nothing else. It's simply a document ID, and this document ID can be also known as object ID, and this is similar to primary key in SQL. So these are the few features about ID. And then we have next field as city. We represent field name, then colon, and then we represent the value for that. Then next we have another field that is pop. Then we have specified numeric value for this. So we have skipped inverted quotes. Then we have another field that is named as state, and here we have specified its value. The next is console man, and this console man's value is written within these brackets, curly brackets. The reason behind this is by doing so, we have created enum data type on this. So here this is enumerated data type, enum data type. This console man is enum data types, or you can say user defined data type. So here within this console man field, we are having subfields also. So it consists of fields having subfields, and these can fields having subfields, and this can also be referred as some other terms. If anyone can name what is here happening, exactly, this is row type. This is row type, means here we are defining no column data type. We are defining row type instead, which means one row can have multiple fields that are of different types. So this is a row type, and this row type consists of further fields. So this, we can say, this row has subcolumns. So this is the beauty of using NoSQL databases. So after this, we are having other features. Here we are having different types. They are double, string, object, array, binary data, object ID, boolean, data, sorry, date, null, regular expression, JavaScript, symbol, and many more. So if we are using any condition, we will be using $ symbol. Be careful, we will be using $ symbol. We can say the number can be used with $ type operator to query by type. So in our examples, we will be using $ symbol. So what is the $ symbol? It is if we want to query by type, then we will use this $ symbol. Like if we are using condition like or, and, in, then we will be using this $ symbol in with those. So by default, each document contains an ID field. We have already discussed about the ID field. So this field has a number of special characters. Basically, it consists of, if this is auto-generated, then it will consist of some character values and some integer values, combination of character and integer values. So this value serves as primary key for collection. So within a collection, if we want to refer any document, then we can refer that document with its unique ID, that is document ID, which will act as a primary key for the collections, and then value will be unique, immutable, and maybe non-array type. Default data type is basically object ID, which is small, which is small in size. It is likely unique, fast to generate, and it is ordered. Suppose we have a collection named as collection 1, and in that collection we are creating 10 documents. Then all those 10 documents will be having different document IDs, and they will be in a particular sequence, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. So we say they are ordered. Sorting on an object value is roughly equivalent to sorting on creation time also. So these are few terminologies for SQL and MongoDB. In SQL, we work by creating tuples or rows. Here we create documents. So our documents are similar to rows in SQL. And in SQL, we create tables or views. In MongoDB, we call them as collections. So tuples are combined into tables, or we can say a table consists of set of tuples. And in MongoDB, we say one collection consists of multiple documents, and these documents can be embedded within other documents also. And in SQL, we are having primary key, which can be defined on any of the attribute, any of the column within the table. But in MongoDB, we have primary key, which is on the ID field only. And SQL has uniform relational schema, which is a predefined schema, but uniformity in case of MongoDB is not required. It is schemaless. Indexes are supported in both MongoDB and SQL. SQL supports joins and Mongo supports embedded structures. SQL works by partitioning and MongoDB works in sharding. Shards, they are known as shards. We have already discussed about shards also. So next we have CRUD operations. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete operations. We will be discussing all those operations in detail. So whenever we are working in MongoDB, firstly we need to start the MongoDB server. We have to open MongoDB/bin directory and run mongod.exe to start the database server. And if when we want to establish a connection to the server, we need to open the command prompt and go to the same directory entering mongodb.exe. We will do hands-on practice on this. Now, if we want to check which DB we are currently using, we are working with DB field. So now let us switch to our command prompt on hands-on and do hands-on practice on this. So I am stopping my PPT over here. So as we can see with the in one of the command prompt, we have started MongoDB server by writing MongoD. We will minimize it. It will keep on running in background. And here we will write this command, that is Mongo. It will start the MongoDB shell, and we will get this symbol which represents that now currently we are at Mongo shell. Now, as we have already discussed, we create databases, then collections, and then database. Now let us see which are the various databases that has already been created. So we will write the command show DBS. It will show all the databases that are already created. Let me clear the screen once. The command to clear the screen is cls. So firstly, we can clear the screen with the help of cls command. And if you want to check which database has already been created, we will write the command show DBS. It will show a list of databases that are already been created. Now suppose you wish to switch any of the database that has already been created. Now suppose we want to switch to KKDB, then we will write the command use KK. It will switch to KKDB. Now suppose we want to check whether we are in active directory of this KK or not, then the command is simply DB. This DB command is used to check which database is currently open. Press enter, it shows KK. Now earlier we used the command use KK to switch or to activate the database KK. And then if we want to check whether the database has been activated or started, then we simply type the command DB. It will show KK. It means KK database is currently in use. So this is about to use existing DB. Now suppose you want to create a new database, then the method is simply we will write the command use, and here we will type database name. Fine. So how to write? Suppose I want to create a database named as test1. So I will write use test1, press enter. It will show switch to DB test1. It means test DB, which was not created earlier, has been created now, and the current database is test1. Now type the command show DBS once again to check whether database has been created or not. But here, after writing this command, you will not be able to see test1 in the list of created databases. I will tell you the reason why this has not been shown. Let us first run this command. Now see, it is showing databases as admin, config, inb, kk, local, mydb, mydb1, and so on. But it is nowhere showing test1, which we created earlier. The reason behind this is, if we have created a new database and there is no entry, it means that database is not having any collection or document, then that database will not be shown. Now let us create one document inside this. Before that, let us create one collection. We will create the collection by using db dot test one. Oh, sorry. Firstly, create collection, give name as T1. Just give me 1 minute. So let us create collection. Write the command db dot create collection. Keep the C capital for collection, and the collection name is T1. Press enter. Sorry, it is giving error. Let me check once. Just a minute. Let me get whenever you are writing the name for the collection, give it in double quotes or single quotes. Press enter. Now it has shown the message okay 1. It means a collection named with T1 has been created. Now let us show this. We will write the command show collections. Now we are inside which database? We will write TB. So we are inside test 1. Now inside this test 1, let us check collection has been created or not. So write the command show collections. See, it is showing T1. It means inside test 1, we have created a collection named as T1. So let us first create a few documents, 1 or 2 documents inside this. So let us insert in T1. The command is db dot T1 dot insert inside the round brackets. We will pass the value. Let us pass the value for the first field, that is name. So I am using my name itself, Kushwan, comma. Suppose I am using my contact number. I will write like this. Then next field, suppose I want to use date. Let us keep only these few fields for the timing. Press enter. The message is shown as right result and dot inserted and inserted 1, means 1 row has been inserted. Now let us check, is this database available now or not? Now we write the same command show dbs. See, now it is showing test 1. Earlier test 1 was not shown because there was 0 entry inside that database. But now inside test 1, we have already created a collection named T1, and inside this T1 collection we have created a document, and that document consists of the values name as Kushwan and contact number as the given contact number, whatever contact number I am giving. So do one simple command db dot T1 dot find. I want to check the values. See, it has created a row which is termed as document and is showing this unique identifier for this particular document. Don't worry about to find, insert and syntax in syntax of insert and all commands, because in the next session we will be doing this syntax in detail. This is just to give the overview of a few basic commands of inserting data, inserting row or inserting document, creating collection, how to show database. And now let us do one more command which is used to show statistics of the database. So the command is db dot stats. Press enter. Sorry, db dot stats. Press enter. It will show all the documents that are present inside this. So all the statistics for test 1 has been shown. The database name is test 1. One collection is there. Objects, one object is there. If you create one more object, let us create one more object. Change its value. Change the name. I will insert only name ABC. Yes, enter. Now see the statistics of database again. db dot stats. Press enter. Now it is showing two objects. Earlier there was single document that is stated as object. Now there are total number of two objects, and size is being changed. All the statistics has been changed. And if anywhere you get stuck, then you can seek help. You can type the command db dot help. Press enter. It will show all the commands in the help mode, like db.stats, db.watch, that will open a change stream cursor for a database, or db.version, it will show the current version of the server, and so on. So you can take help of this command. In the next session, we will be discussing in detail about syntax of all the create commands. We will do one full-fledged creation of a database, and inside that we will be creating documents, collections, and so on. If you have any query, you are most welcome. You can write in the chat box also. You can write in the disk for offline users. You can write your queries in the description box also. I hope many of you have installed MongoDB, because in the last video I have told you about from where you can get the setup for MongoDB database. Also, there was a full tutorial on how to install MongoDB. What are the various environment variables that we need to set in MongoDB. So I suggest you that just refer to them once. And if still you have not installed MongoDB, then you can work on MongoDB web shell. MongoDB web shell is available on the MongoDB site also. You can register for free on that site, and you can use MongoDB web shell for that. So keep practicing